Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off last time. Last time we've got our little dice game here to where you roll the dice and it'll come up. Doesn't do very much. So let's go ahead and get back into the code here. Now what we're going to want to try to do now is we're going to actually put a label down here that's going to tell us what we've rolled. So let's go ahead and pull a label out. And we will change the text of the label to label underscore display results. And let's go ahead and make sure that the auto size is turned off. And let's make it 250 by 50. Actually, I did that wrong there. We'll just take the text out and rename it to label underscore display results. Okay, so with our label, now we can just put it where we want it. And let's go ahead and put like a default text in there that says roll the dice. And we will go up to font here. And let's just change it to, let's try 18 in bold. That don't look too bad. And right here where it says, let's get that aligned. Down here where it says text align, let's click this drop down. And we'll choose this right here, which just means it'll be in the center of it. Okay. So now we'll need to make sure that we remember the label name, label display results. And let's go ahead and unpin that and go back into the form code. So now we got to look at trying to keep track of how many of each number on the dice. Like if there's 3 dice up that are showing on side 1, then it would be 3 of a kind. If it was 3 ones and 2 fives, it'd be a full house. So we really need to keep up with how many dice are in each current state, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, since there's 6 sides to the dice. So we'll do it through an array, and we'll just call it dice results. And then we'll need to initialize it. We'll come down here and do dice results equals new int, and there's 6 sides, so it'll be 6. And at the start, we'll have zeros. Okay, so that's got that down. And now we need to come down here, and what we'll do is we'll make a couple more methods. We'll get one called get results, and we'll do one that's called reset dice. We'll just do it a bit. Okay. So if we're going to do that, let's go ahead and we'll work on the, we need to add a little bit to the roll dice method here as well. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. We'll probably actually go ahead and put it inside this for loop here. And what we want to do is we want to set each of the dice to the random number between 1 and 6, like we did last time. And then let's just we'll put in a switch statement here. Is equal to whatever is at the index of the current dice, so of the current dice array. So it's the same thing as that we were doing here to put the number in there. So let's say that if this dice returns a 1, then we're going to increase the first index of the dice result, and then we'll break. So what we're doing here is, let's go up and we'll look at this. So we have 6 sides to the dice. So this will be the first side, second side, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So what we're doing here is if it's showing a 1, we're going to increase the amount of dice that are shown inside 1. And we're just going to go down this for all the sides. And it'd be easier if we just copied and pasted it, and then we need to increase these. Okay. So that actually will run through all the dice as we roll them. It'll come and put the number down here, and then if it's a 1, it'll increase the number of dice that are on the 1 side, the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll use that down here when we get the results. So let's go ahead and let's put get results, and then we want to reset dice. So actually, let's just call it reset results. That'll look better. And so now we'll go down here and change this. And that's now okay. So now we will look at the get results. So there's a lot of ways that we could do this. So just since I'm guessing since you're watching these tutorials that you're starting to learn C#. So let's what we'll do is we'll just set up a bunch of Boolean values and start them off as false, and then we'll work through some if statements and set it to true, and then after that we'll work through another if statement, and if that's true we'll print out the new label result. So let's go ahead. So if you got 5 of a kind, this should be a little bit easier for everyone to follow. And then let's see, high straight, or low straight. After that we'll have a full house, and then it would be three of a kind, maybe if it'll top. Then it'll be 2 pair. One pair. And now of course if you don't have any of these, then you like print out like 6 high or 5 high. Now I know you can't have an actual like 1 high on this, but we'll go ahead and we'll put it all in just so we'll have everything. So 6 high equals false. Actually, we won't do 6 high, we'll just do have 6. Maybe we'll use these as for something else later on. Okay, so now we have all these set up. Let's go ahead and enter down a little bit, and now we'll go through, set up a for loop. It's going to go through all the results. Okay, so we're going to check, and if any of the dice results are equal to 5, which means there's a 5 count of that side of dice, so that's going to mean that we have 5 of a kind. Alright, else if dice results I equals 4, then we would have 4 of a kind. Okay, so then we need to look the next things that we have here. So we've got these in order, so 5 of a kind, 4 of a kind, a high straight. So how we can check for that would be if I mean, you wouldn't have to put this in the else if you could actually do it in its own if statement, or however you want to do it, but we'll just do this in order so it's easier to follow for everybody. So the high straight would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, or I'm sorry, a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 is actually starting at the 1 index here. So if you have a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6, then you have a high straight. Okay, so now we need to check for, the next thing we have up there is a low straight, else if, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this. I'm going to type it all again. Whoops. Try it again. Copy, paste, and now we're going to start at 0, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If that's true, then we have a low straight. And that's if. Next thing we have is a full house. So this is going to be a little bit different. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to check for 3 first, and then after that we will check and see if there's a 2. So we would do else if dice results I. So if you've got 3 of one kind, you would do, we're going to have to put this one in brackets since it's really more than one line. 3 of a kind is true. Okay, so now we have 3 of a kind is true, but we need to put another for loop inside here. So we'll use j equals 0, j is less than dice results dot length. We'll increment j. Okay, so we know we have 3 of a kind. So if we have 3 of a kind, then we have a pair along with the 3 of a kind that gives us a full house. So now we're going to loop around again inside this for loop. We're making a whole new for loop. That's going to check and see if we have a pair to go with that 3 of a kind. So what we'll do is if dice results j is equal to 2, full house is equal to true. Okay, so, and now we can actually come down here, and the next thing that we would be looking for would be 2 pair. So we'll do else if dice results equals 2. Put this in brackets here. We have a pair. So now if we have 1 pair, we need to check and see if we have 2. So same thing as we did before, except this time we can't just loop at starting at 0, because if we do that, we're just going to get the same pair again. So what we're going to do is int j again. We're going to equal it to I plus 1. So it's going to start at the index after it found this pair here. It'll start the next one over. So do j is less than dice results dot length. And increment j, and so if dice results j is equal to 2, we have 2 pair. And if we don't, then it won't. It'll just keep it at false. So, and now after that, what we'll do now is we're going to check and see what other numbers we have. We're not going to do it in this same loop. As you can see here, we have 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we need to check. And like I said before, some of these won't be possible. Like have 1, it would never be 1 high. You won't have 2 high, 3 high, or 4 high, you're going to have either 5 high or 6 high, just because of the number of dice and the possibilities you have. It can only be a 6 high or a 5 high, but we'll put the rest in there just so we get practice. So what we'll do now is, if you click next to the curly bracket here, the curly brace, you'll see it highlights the other one up here, so you can tell where you need to put it, because we want to stay in the get results, but we don't want in this for loop. So we will put it right here. Now what we're going to do now is we're actually going to loop through the dice and not the dice results. So by that I mean we'll put in our for loop. We can use I again because we're actually outside of the other for loop. So let's send dice dot length. Then we'll increment I. And what we're going to do now, we'll just use another switch statement. We could use an if statement if you wanted to, that's fine, but since we're learning here, I guess we'll use, you know, both for loops and switch statements and all that. So what we'll do now is we want to take whatever this is. So if the first dice returned a random of like of 1, then we know that we have a 1. If it returned the next one was a 2, we know we have a 2. So now what we'll do is we'll start at 6 and just go down. So I have 6 equals true, and break out. So, and again, we'll just copy and paste these. I think that's enough there, so we'll do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now let's look over what we've done so far before we actually set the new labels. So what we're going to do is, when we push our button, we're going to roll the dice, which is going to do, it's going to set a random number to each of our dice between 1 and 6, and then it's going to increment the dice results array depending on what side each dice lands on. And we're going to go ahead and set the images of our actual labels for our dice when we roll them. So after the roll dice is completed, it's going to get the results, and you could put all this in the same method if you wanted to. And in the get results, we're going to go ahead and do these locally inside this method. So every time this method is called, these Boolean values are automatically set to false. And then what we'll do is we're going to look for 5 of a kind, 4 of a kind, and so forth. We'll loop through all the results, which we incremented up here, depending on what they are. If we have 5 of one side, we know we have 5 of a kind. If we have 4 of one side, we know we have 4 of a kind. Now we know we can't have, we have 5 of a kind, we couldn't have anything else. So what we could do to stop this is we could break out of the loop, but we'll just leave it as it is for now. This is not optimized by any standards, and there's a lot of other ways that we could do this. It would be less code, but since we're learning, this is a good way to learn how to use all the different Boolean values and the for loops and the if statements. So anyway, we're going to check for a high straight, then a low straight. 3 of a kind. If we have 3 of a kind, we'll check for a pair to go with the 3 of a kind, which would make it a full house. And another thing we could do here is if we have a full house, then we can go ahead and set 3 of a kind to false, but we'll just leave it like it is for now. If we do have a pair, we set one pair to true, then we'll check see if we have another pair, and if we do, then we will make sure we have 2 pairs set to true. After that, we'll loop through the actual dice that were rolled, and we will see if we have a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, or a 1. And if we do, we'll set it to true. Now what we need to do is actually go through and set the result label. So how we'll do that is, as you can see, we'll click there, make sure we're at the right brace, we'll get outside of this for loop, and we're just going to have a big if else statement. So 5 of a kind is the highest one we have, and there's display results, which we set earlier. 5 of a kind. Now if we don't have 5 of a kind, the next thing that comes after that would be 4 of a kind. So we have 4 of a kind. We'll set the label to that. Oh, I'm sorry, it'd be else if, not else. And if we don't have 4 of a kind, if we don't have 5 of a kind, we don't have 4 of a kind, then we'll check to see if we have a high straight. Then a low straight would be next. And then after that we would look for a full house. Okay. And then after that, if we don't have any of that so far, we check to see if we had 3 of a kind. Oops. And if we don't have 3 of a kind, then we'll check for 2 pair. If we don't have 2 pair, we'll check to see if we have 1 pair. And if we don't have 1 pair, then we need to go ahead and check and see what our highest dice is. So if we have a 6, now really we could stop there because there's no way that we could have like a 4 high. But we'll go ahead and put all this in case you want to mess around and make some other kind of game out of this. You'll have everything in there. Scroll down here a little bit. Oops. No, can't spell 2 tonight for some reason. Okay, so basically what it's going to do is it's going to run through all of this, check for 5 of a kind, 4 of a kind, high straight, low straight, 3 of a kind, see if you got a full house, 1 pair, 2 pair, and then it's going to go through and see if you have a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. And whatever is true, it'll set to true, and whatever it is not true, it'll just keep the false. And then you go through this if statement here, and you got to put the high result first. So 5 of a kind would be the highest that you could roll. Then a 4 of a kind, a high straight, low straight, full house, 3 of a kind, 2 pair, 1 pair. And if you don't have any of that, it would be the highest dice that you had would go for your scoring hand. So now once that's all done, we actually need to reset the results. So, and all we gotta do for that is a simple for loop that will go through dice results. And all we need to do here is set the dice results right back to 0. And this way, this stops. If we didn't do that, it would just keep incrementing more and more and more and more, and pretty soon all you would get would be 5 of a kind, because you'd have more than 5. Well, actually you would have 5 of a kind once, and then it would just not even display anything, it would break. So we need to make sure we reset that, and now when we click the button, it's going to roll the dice, get the results, and then it's going to reset them. So, and just resetting the results won't actually change the labels, it just resets the array back. So now if we try this, hopefully we did it alright. Roll the dice, 1 pair, we have a 1 and a 1 there, 2 pair, try to click through here real quick, 3 of a kind, see if we can get most of all these, without taking too much time. 2 pair. See if we can find a full house. Okay, there's a 6 high. So you have a 1, you don't have a 2, so you don't have a straight, you have no pair, and you have a 6 high. Okay, there's a high straight, so it starts with 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's working. Another 6 high. 1 pair. Okay, there's our full house. See if we can get a straight here. A low straight. Another high straight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So everything. Oh, there's a full house, a high straight. Trying to see if we can get like a 4 of a kind, 5 of a kind, but I just saw 4 of a kind there. Another 4 of a kind. Anyway, and that's the game now. What we can do is maybe next time, if anyone's interested, we could maybe make a local multiplayer game. So if 2 people sit in the same computer, they could click each button, then it would compare the two and say who the winner was, something like that. Or we can leave it at this. I think this is a pretty good example of how you can make a quick little game. Might do a matching game next or something like that. But as always, make sure you visit the blog, and if you like this, go ahead and leave comments about what you did like, what you didn't like, what maybe you would like to see a tutorial on next, and I will see you guys next time.